Hello, everyone, and welcome back, and Happy New Year to everyone and your family. And I hope that 2025 is going to be the year for you. Now, before I start this video, this is going to be a little bit not off topic, but I don't usually do rant videos because I don't think they're constructive. So I am going to try and keep this not as much ranty as I've tried it, but I've tried doing this video a couple of times and I just end up shouting and getting really annoyed. What I'm going to talk about is the state of the British Army. Now, before we go on to this video, who does the government call upon when the firemen want a pay increase because their pay is not good enough or their standards are not good enough? Like when the firemen decide to have a little bit of time off, who does the government call on? Who do they call on? They call on the army. Yeah, they call on the MoD. They call on the armed forces. When there's a medical emergency and the NHS is becoming overwhelmed, who do they call on for extra assistance? They call on the army. They call on the MoD. They call on the military. When the border forces, in fact, we'll come on to that one last. When there's any sort of emergency, when there's a security issue and the police need reinforcement because they can't do their own job, who do they call on? They call on the MoD to reinforce them. They call on the MoD all the time when they need extra help. When the border force, when they wanted a little pay rise, who did they call from? Who do they call on? They called on the MoD, and paradoxically, I can remember an article come out when the border force wanted a bit more money and they had to call the MoD in. There was a lot of people coming through customs, coming through the border and saying, actually, now the MoD are running things are a lot smoother. So, that was a bit of egg on the face for the border force. I just hit the camera. I'm obviously ex-military and I have a real affinity when I see these things. And I'm going to share with you guys an article now because how we treat our troops, how we treat our men and women in uniform, it's just not acceptable, guys. It's really not. It's absolutely disgusting. And it's really winding me up the more I see this. It's absolutely devastating. So let's just go to the share screen real quick and then we'll talk about this article. So here we have it, guys. Despite a salary hike that's not really a salary hike, many soldiers leave the British military, report. The UK is experiencing an alarmingly high attrition rate in its armed forces, with many soldiers continuing to leave the service despite a salary increase approval by the government last year. Now, the salary increase, it's not really brought their wages up and it's not really made it competitive. So why would people if you're already the lowest paid and the pay is terrible anyway, and they bring it up and it's still terrible, it's no real incentive. I did a petition last year and I wanted a 30% increase for MoD. And I also wanted a bonus for those still serving of £1,000 for every year that they've served. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, but it's really not. It's not even in comparison to the amount of money that the government have wasted on such projects like the Ajax project, the 2 aircraft carriers that we can't field, the amount of kit and equipment that we buy, money we send overseas. That is not a lot of money, guys, okay? That's what I wanted. I wanted a 30% increase for MoD across the board, and I wanted a £1,000 bonus for every soldier, every serviceman that's serving in the military for every year that they've been in service. So if you've been in service 1 year, you get 1,000. If you've been in service 20 years, you get 20,000. And that was just going to be a nice little bonus for your back pocket. Attrition in the military refers to the gradual loss of personnel due to factors such as retirement and resignation, which negatively impacts operational readiness and force strength. It's disgusting, guys, how our soldiers are being treated at the moment. I really want to do something. I want to get involved in this, and I think I should. Around 15,000 British soldiers left the military in the year to October 2024. So that's like over 1,000 a month, with more than half of these departures categorized as voluntary attrition. So that would be people thinking, I've had enough of this, I'm done. According to a report by the Telegraph, notably, the armed forces only enlisted 12,000 personnel in that same period, resulting in a net decrease in military strength. So you're looking like a net decrease of 3,000. But that doesn't paint the whole picture, because those people who left who are senior, those people who left with operational experience, those people who left with experience. Because don't forget, every year you're in the military, you're gaining experience. You're going on career courses. You're going on exercises. You're learning capacity. You're learning how to manage people. You're learning how the grouping system works, how your unit works. And those people who have left, they can't be replaced with new recruits. That just isn't how it works. You know, you can't replace somebody with 22 years experience with somebody who's just done 6 months training. It does not work like that. Or the numbers are kind of, the numbers don't paint the whole picture, because experience, you can't pay for experience. You can't pay for training. That only comes with time. That only comes with experience, with mistakes made. And that's how you gain experience. That's how you train your military. And that only comes with time, guys. There's no other way around that. As of October, there are reportedly just 2 servicemen and women for every 1,000 people in Britain. This is the first time this has ever happened. So as I understand it this is the lowest numbers we've ever had it. Earlier this year, data from the UK Ministry of Defence revealed that more people quit the military than are joining in 2023, with factors such as poor living conditions and declining troop morale cited as the main cause. Now, there's lots of articles out there about how people in the MoD are sharing their problems about living conditions, damp, mold, and the people in the MoD are being told there's no money. Can you imagine right now, if you're living in these conditions and you're seeing the vast amounts of migrants? 36,000 migrants came to the UK last year, 2024. Can you imagine if you're sat there now in the military and the government are telling you there's no money to repair your block, your accommodation, there's no money to repair it. We don't have money. We've got a £22 billion black hole. But every migrant that comes over gets a hotel, they get free food, they get free heating, they get money in their pockets. Where's this money coming from? We've been told there's no money, but there's money for those guys. And again, I'm not saying there's any right or wrong in this. I'm just saying this is how it's going to appear to those people who are living in substandard conditions. And then we come on to declining troop morale. There's an article out today. I think the article's 9 special forces soldiers are being investigated for potential war crimes or something in Syria. Now, let's look back historically. We have a situation in the United Kingdom where we actually pay and fund solicitors, legal companies to prosecute our own troops. So can you imagine now, you're sat there in poor living conditions, being told there's no money for it, but you're seeing money for other people who've never contributed into this tax system, who would certainly never fight for this country. You're being told there's no money. Then you're looking at the news, and every time there's an operational deployment, soldiers are getting prosecuted through the legal system for things they may or may not have done while they're being deployed. And a lot of these things are being quashed. A lot of these things, disgustingly, are made up. There was an article recently about a guy. He had a legal company, and he made up incidences of troops in Iraq and he got a load of money by the legal system. Nothing happened to that guy. He dragged those soldiers through the dirt. He got paid for it and nothing's happened. Literally, he got a suspended sentence. And you're looking at this in the military and you're thinking, right, okay, so the government aren't paying me They're not providing me with accommodation. They're expecting me to go away and fight and potentially give the ultimate sacrifice for my country. And then as a Brucey bonus, when I get back, I'm going to be dragged through the courts for something I've never done. Well, I'm good, actually. I'm good. I'm not going to do that. You know, it's guys, it really makes me sick. Like I said, this is the third time I've tried to make this video, so I'm going to try not to go on a rant. 6% pay rise. In July, the British government announced a 6% salary increase for military personnel, the largest in over 2 decades. So what this means is they've been having essentially they've been having a pay cut for the last 2 decades because, you know, we've got more than 6% inflation. So the fact that it's a 6% pay rise doesn't even make, like, it doesn't even meet inflation. So it's still a pay cut. The pay rise is actually a pay cut. You know, they're not even bringing it in line with inflation. The raise aims to, guys, this is where I start to get myself getting absolutely furious. And I can see, and I can feel this, like, this fire in my stomach raging, but I'm going to try and keep it calm for you guys. The raise aims to address the recruitment and retention challenges which have been reportedly affected the military's operational readiness. Our new this guy John Healy. Our new government's first duty is keeping the British people safe. I mean, we could keep the British people safe by stopping the boats. That'd be the first thing to do. But anyway, let's continue. And the strength of our defence lies in the servicemen and women of our forces, Defence Secretary John Healy stated. This pay award will benefit every member of the armed forces. It is an important step towards turning around the decline in morale, and recruitment crisis that we have faced in recent years. These guys are so out of touch. And then here it is, look, guys. Despite the increase, the military remains one of the lowest paid sectors among civil servants in the UK, according to reports. Like, everybody goes on strike, you know. I'm like, look at the train drivers. Look what they got for their strike. Sadiq Khan's mates. Look at the NHS when they don't want to, you know, they want more money. Everybody goes on strike apart from the MoD. And it seems to me that, you know, that they're the ones who we depend on the most, but we appreciate the least. Not me. Absolutely not me. I appreciate the hard work that the MoD put in. I appreciate each and every one of those soldiers that are out on the front line that are giving their Christmases away, giving long weekends away. When it's cold and it's wet and it's raining outside, you can guarantee there's some infantry unit in a shell scrape, you know, wet, muddy, eating out of a mess tin. And like, we don't see this side of it. We don't see the sacrifices that these guys give, you know, on a daily basis. I hope I've not got the video flagged by saying that keyword then. Let's continue. Too small to survive a war. The article goes on, guys, okay? I will put this article in a link in the description, but I want to keep this relatively short and just give you guys an update on the absolute calamity of our MoD at the moment, of the Ministry of Defence, of our soldiers. And I'm talking about private soldiers now on the front line, because ultimately they are the ones who are going to be, they're the ones that are going to be, you know, fighting if we are, as I keep saying, heading towards a global conflict of an industrial scale. It's the private soldiers, it's the junior commanders. They're the ones who are going to be suffering the hardships. They're the ones who are going to be coming back, you know, with those, coming back with that mental baggage, having to deal with life as a civilian. It's going to be difficult for those guys. We should pay them right. We should look after them. We should give them a living wage. We should give them living standards. It's embarrassing that we don't, guys. I really want to get involved with something like this. I'm going to start sending emails out to people. But anyway, guys, I'm going to Max a Grid. I'll get you guys another video later. Support our troops.